In the heart of the city, a new threat emerges from the shadows. Linguaman, our linguistic superhero, stands tall, ready to face this villain. Beware, dear listeners, this is no ordinary foe. This is Syntaxor, a master of twisted words and convoluted phrases. A villain who thrives in confusion and linguistic chaos. As the battle commences, Linguaman, in his signature green suit, yellow cape and black mask, charges at Syntaxor. He shouts, "I will defeat you myself." An interesting choice of words, isn't it? Myself is what we call a reflexive pronoun. Reflexive pronouns are words that refer back to the subject of the sentence. In Linguaman's case, I is the subject and myself is the reflexive pronoun. Syntaxor, not to be outdone, retorts, "You underestimate yourself, Linguaman." In his taunt, Syntaxor also uses a reflexive pronoun, yourself, which refers back to the subject, you. Other examples of reflexive pronouns include herself, himself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. As the battle rages on, Linguaman and Syntaxor weave in and out of linguistic traps and pitfalls, using reflexive pronouns to both attack and defend. Linguaman, ever the teacher, explains, reflexive pronouns are not just for emphasis, they are essential when the action of the verb reflects back on the subject. For example, she blames herself for the mistake. Here, the action of blaming is done by the subject and received by the same subject. Syntaxor, in a desperate attempt to confuse Linguaman, twists his words, "We will defeat ourselves." But Linguaman is quick to correct him. "Syntaxor, your sentence is grammatically correct, but logically flawed. You've used the reflexive pronoun ourselves correctly, but your intent is self-defeating." Finally, with a swift linguistic maneuver, Linguaman ensnares Syntaxor in a web of well-crafted sentences, leaving him powerless. As Syntaxor falls, Linguaman declares, "Words are mightier than the sword, Syntaxor. You've defeated yourself." With Syntaxor defeated, Linguaman takes a moment to recap the uses and formation of reflexive pronouns. "Remember," he declares, "reflexive pronouns always refer back to the subject of the sentence. They are formed by adding self or selves to the end of certain pronouns. They are used for emphasis and when the action of the verb reflects back on the subject." And so ends another adventure of Linguaman, our linguistic superhero. In the battle of language, he stands as our defender, always ready to face the next villain, armed with the power of words.